Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. It is a beautiful day. Why is the green light on my mic so pronounced today? Goodness gracious. How's everyone's weekend? Did you all do anything fun? I sure hope that you did. I just got a notification. Okay, cool. Hold on, I'm about to yawn. Let me not do it on stream. Yawning is contagious, so I try not to yawn on stream. So hold on, let me put in a little good morning message. Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are ready for a fantastic live stream. Please send some, what is it? Please like the stream and share if you can. Let's see. Alrighty. Alrighty. Good morning, Akicha. Hello. How are you? How's everything going out there? Out there's in the other part of the country. How's it all going? I appreciate you. My weekend was eventful. I went out on Saturday night and it was super super fun. Um I always like to go out on my own, actually. I don't you know how people go out to, like, bars and clubs like that, and they go in groups? I always go out on my own because I wanna be on my own schedule. I don't wanna be with some group of girls that are like, "Oh my god, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I wanna go to the other bar. I left my shoe in the bathroom. I don't think he likes me." Like, "Shut up!" I just don't wanna have to deal with any of that. I love going out with friends and stuff like that, and I love going to, like, oh, if my friends wanna go somewhere, I'll go there, but I like to go on my own. I don't like to be tethered down. Um, I like to be on my own schedule, so, anyway, it's going well here, but hot. Will be 107 degrees. Is that the feels like temperature or the actual temperature? Jeez Louise. Um and I know that's a dry heat, so I'm used to humid heat over here. So, anyway, good morning as more people are jumping in here. I appreciate every single one of you. We have lots to talk about today. Used to go out a lot, but haven't been to clubs in years. Yeah, I love going out. I really, really do. It energizes me in a way that it feels really good, and fun fact, I don't drink. So whenever I go out, I'm fully sober, and a lot of people are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love going out and, like, just talking with people, and I don't feel like I need alcohol, you know? Also, it saves a whole bunch of money. Woo! Money I don't have! Actual temperature. Oh, geez Louise. Um Let's see how many people we got in here. We got 4 people so far. All right. So we have a lot to talk about today. Also, I've made a breakthrough. I'm going to start wearing lighter colors on my live streams. The reason why is because if I wear darker colors, it washes me out with my background. So I'm planning on only wearing light colors on my streams now. So, because when I wear black, it makes it seem really like you can't see me. You can't see my body. So, anyway, we have a lot to talk about today. So, as you're jumping in here, hello. Make sure to say if you're new, make sure to say where you are tuning in from. And say hello. I'd love to get to know you. We have a lot to talk about today. I'll give you a rundown of all the things we have to talk about. We are going to be talking about Trump posting endless amounts of AI memes. God, he posted over 30 like AI generated slot memes in under 24 hours. We're going to be talking about the Iran is an update. We'll be talking about Troy Jackson. We'll be talking about Haley Stevens. She's Louise. We'll be talking about the DNC. The DNC is currently kind of in trouble. And we're also going to be doing some other miscellaneous stories. And let's see. AI data centers. Yes, that is going to be another thing. We're going to talk a little bit about AI data centers. So please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. The white shirt actually does pop against the background. You'd think he'd have better things to do. Of course he doesn't have better things to do. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Hold on, let me pull up my X. Give me a second. Give me a second. Haley Stevens. If y'all do not know of Haley Stevens, oh honey, it is a whole thing. It is a whole thing. Hold on, I'm about to yawn again. Why am I yawning on stream? Why am I yawning on stream? Okay. Alrighty. You know what is so funny? I'm such a small guy that I'm actually sitting crisscross applesauce in my desk chair. I do all the time when I do these live streams. Like, I am literally sitting crisscross applesauce in my desk chair. That's how I always do my streams. Just by the way. For people who do not know, like, I'm a short king. Okay, I'm a short guy. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into this here, shall we? I don't know where people are yet, but I'm just gonna go ahead and dive into it. Okay. Let me click start recording, and then we'll get started. Happy Monday. I don't know if those two words make sense together, but happy Monday. Oh my God. Okay, Trump is such a petulant 12-year-old child inhabiting a what, 85-year-old man's body? He's 81 or something like that, I believe. Or 80. I don't know. He's old. He's old and he's half decomposing, bless his heart. Anyway, Donald Trump posted at least 30 plus AI memes in under 24 hours. I mean, this is what the man does with his presidency instead of actually doing anything. He gets us involved in wars and he can't even stop them, even though he said he's already won it. I don't understand, but this is what our president spends time with. He's actively turned us into a banana republic, a clown country. And look, when you elect a clown to be the president, you're going to expect a circus and all the jesters to gather all around him. So Donald Trump posted over 30 plus AI slop crap disgusting memes yesterday, Sunday, in under 24 hours. And he also posted over 50 times. I counted over 50 times within 24 hours. It's just like the man has nothing else to do with his day. So Trump goes on AI posting spree targeting enemies from Iran to ex-comedians Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert. So he fired off a series of AI-generated images on Sunday, targeting a slew of names from his enemies list, from Iran's theocratic leaders to Rosie O'Donnell, ex-comedians Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert. The president's social media spree started with a picture of CNN's Caitlin Collins as trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney, doubling down on a joke he made at the White House Correspondents' Dinner 2 days earlier. And he is going from there. Trump posted a picture of a grease and mustard-stained Chris Christie fawning over a saggy-looking Bruce Springsteen short after. And let me just show you. This is okay. This is oh geez. Okay. Let me go all the way back here. It hold on. Hold on. I'm going to give you a timeline. Like, look at all of this. Look at all of this crud. Okay, give me a second. Hold on. So this is what he started with. He started with, and let me bring down the size of this to make it a little bit easier to see. Okay. So no, I don't want to use cookies. No. Ew, God, definitely not. Okay, Donald Trump stealing my data. So it started off with Caitlin Collins as Dylan Mulvaney. Okay, I'll talk about that a little bit later in the live stream, but it's slop AI memes like this. This is Chris Christie, or the depiction of Chris Christie, who was the former Republican governor of New Jersey, and he constantly makes fun of his weight, which is ironic because Donald Trump is obese and overweight himself, which is the pot calling the kettle black. But But, like, look at this kinda crud. This is just AI slop memes. I really don't understand why in the world he's Donald Trump is such a petulant child that he posts these AI generated memes because he has nothing else better to do with his time. He's posting about people who aren't even in who aren't even super relevant to politics. Chris Christie, he's a former Republican governor of New Jersey. He's not in an elected office right now. Jerry Nadler is a retiring or already retired congressman. What is the point of this crud? This AI slop. And like, what does this do? What kind of political message does this send? It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Um, Posting AI slop is still less damaging than a lot of other things that he could be doing. I mean, that's also valid. Putting it into perspective there. Glass half full. That's fair. Um, Kimmel, Fallon, and Colbert. Um, okay. I'm pretty sure that Kimmel still has a show, right? Where so I just anything helps. Yeah, just not Donald Trump. Give the enemies nightmares? Or give the enemy nightmares. Okay. Not the Trump 2028. Not the Trump 2028. He's still going on about Rosie O'Donnell. Like, what in the world? I like how the letter is backward. The letter is upside down. Um that is so Ireland. Oh my god. Does Donald Trump have blue eyes? Why is it showing that he has blue eyes in this photo? It's the it okay. So, and here's another one. This we keep going on and on. All right. So, another one of Trump's big AI slop memes that he's about to start doing a lot more of is Karg Island. Okay, for those people who do not know, Karg Island is a small island off the coast of the main part of Iran. It is Iranian territory. It is where Iran has around 90% or so of their oil machinery and refineries and everything on Karg Island. Lindsey Graham, bless his heart, Lindsey Graham, who that senator who died, big war hawk, he at one point was trying to get Trump to invade Karg Island, simultaneously saying, Mr. President, take Karg Island. Take Karg Island. You know, we could get all that oil from Karg Island. This war is over. So simultaneously, Lindsey Graham, before he died and he passed, bless his heart, was trying to get Donald Trump to invade Karg Island, but then said that it was not invading Iran. He said, I'm not calling on invading Iran. Karg Island is where we have where Iran has all the oil machineries and refineries. It's not invading Iran. Just take Karg Island and this war is over. That's like saying we're not invading the United States. We're just trying to take over Hawaii. Honey, Hawaii's part of the United States. It might not be on the main continental part of the United States, but it still is the United States. So that's why he does this. He posts out AI slop memes about this. Like, what is going on? What is going on? He posted it twice. Twice. 16 hours. 16 hours. Wait, hold on. Give me a second here. 3:31. Okay. And then 3:32. So, wait a minute. Trump posts an AI slop meme and then posts it twice? Why is he posting it twice? I just don't get it. He posted it twice. Oh, and now it's Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, I didn't notice. Okay. There's this one, and then the troops are there in the battleship, and then I guess these Iranian guys that are jumping over into the water? What? I just Donald Trump is like he's like a 12-year-old at heart who's just having fun with pumping out endless amounts of AI memes. He's such a petulant child. No more engines. No more engines. Like in cars? No more engines in like power plants? Like when you say no more engines, what do you mean just for Iran? No more engines? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Y'all, this goes on and on. He's just lurking. Still lurking about. It goes on and on, y'all. Like, look at this. Um, you think they like you back. That's the miscommunication. They as in who? Iran? Iran doesn't like our country. So he posts all of this crud. It's back to back, y'all. It's back to back. And the fact that the fact that Donald Trump posted this with JFK here is just crazy to me. It's crazy. Oh my god, not the pink Trump hat. Is that a sperm? Look at this thing here. This looks like a sperm. Ew. Why is this a big cup of coffee? Hot chocolate? Is this poop water? Like, what is this? I I don't get it. And what is this graffiti down here? Honey, does that say something? DC5 4DLES? I have no idea. And like, what is going on? So he wants to build a wall, right? I guess he also wants to build a wall with the United States and Canada. Um, oh, it's an air filter barrier. That's funny. So Canada has been having some wildfires, and the smoke has been blowing partially into the United States because, wind. But Donald Trump hates wind. Um, so it's apparently he wants to erect a whole big wall here. This is more probably just a joke, but I mean he's has advocated for building also a northern barrier. Also, I just want to say, like, look at the United States side versus the Canada side. The Canada side looks so much cleaner and nicer and better. I'm just saying. Like, are we sure that it's not going to be supposed to be for the other way around? Because it looks like Canada has cleaner air over here. Just saying. Um, just saying. You and I both know that that was poop water. 100%. Yeah, 100%. That's poop water. Um, You see this spine? You see this spine? This is what I want to put back in the Republicans. That would be nice. If Republicans did have a spine, they would actually stand up to you. But I would love that. But I don't think you would. Trump, Washington, a time traveler epic. What does this even say? Patriot Pictures presents a film by America. Is this George Washington and Donald Trump as a superhero pulling him up a mountain? The past was about to change. History was about to be saved. What? Is this supposed to be a movie? Like, what is he doing here? Also, it's just the historical inaccuracies and all that of the photo is wild to me. It's just wild to me. I like how they also left out Lincoln's head on Mount Rushmore here. Interesting. Like, what kind of crud yeah, that's the last one of it. What kind of crud is this? This is just so stupid. He is so stupid. And I want to actually go in and show some people's comments about it. Okay. We'll talk about Dylan Mulvaney in a second. Grandpa having a totally normal Sunday on his social media account. Thought he was a war that needed was it? Thought he was a war that he needs to end. What? I don't know what that's supposed to signify. Trump posts AI generated meme of himself and JFK at the White House. Let's see if the comments are cooking here. A picture of the most corrupt US president in history and Richard Nixon before Trump was even president. That's funny. I like this one. You missed this one, Donnie. Yeah. A felon married an immigrant telling us the problem are felons and immigrants. Yeah, no, seriously. I like that one. That one's funny. I think you'll find this one far more appropriate. Oh, it's sensitive content, y'all. That's Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. Anyway, we'll talk about Dylan Mulvaney and what's her face, Caitlin Collins here in a second. I like this person just said, "What? What? Is this supposed to be a? If I were alive today, I'd slap, I'd slap all of you for allowing this Trump crap. Grow a pair and take back your government." Yeah, no, seriously. It's not a wall, it's an air filter, you moron. I said that, honey. It could also be a wall there too. But yes, it was an air filter. Calm down. Ew. This is the current president. I wouldn't hire this moron to be the White House janitor. Yeah, no, seriously. This is the actual poster. Is Donald Trump just sleeping? Yeah, guess he is. The presidential commemorative cuckoo clock featuring 24/7 nonstop and repeating lies, complaints, demands, excuses, whines, exaggerations, name calling, mispronunciation, and incoherent babbles. That's good. That's good, y'all. Oh, that's good. So it's stupid. And again, I showed you, I scrolled on here. Trump is so busy posting AI generated images on his own social media platform that he doesn't even realize he's posting some of them twice. No, I think that he does realize he's posting some of them twice. And to be fair, you can see the difference. You see the difference here between that photo and this photo. You have the ship in the background and the two guys. So like it I thought it was the same thing, but it's actually not. Also, Harry Sisson, okay, he did a whole breakdown of this. This is actually enlightening, okay? Trump is having a mental health episode on social media right now. And I have my criticisms of Harry Sisson, but he's spot on with this one, okay? Trump's having a mental health episode on social media right now. He's been posting nonstop all day. 11:16, 11:43, 3:22, 3:23, 3:23, 3:23, 3:23, 3:24, 3:24, 3:25, 3:25, 3:31, 3:31, 3:32, 3:33, 3:47, 4:36, 4:36, 4:37, 4:39. Like, I could keep going on and on. This is so fucking crazy. 437, 439, 439, 440, 441, 441, 445, 447, 448, 449, 452, 453, 454, 454, 455, 456, 457, 458, 459, 459, 4 what is it? What is it? 5 o'clock, 5:04 or 5:01, 5:04, 5:04, 5:16. He's insane. I just how do you even go about this? How do you even go about this, y'all? I just truly don't understand. Um, Also, it is kind of insane. I appreciate it, but it's kind of insane that he literally documented all of this. But also, I mean, he's putting it in perspective. He's putting it in perspective here. Um, so yeah. Now I want to go to this here, and I'm going to actually give me a second. Hold on. So I have a theory, and it's not really that big of a theory, that Donald Trump, he obviously finds Caitlin Collins attractive. Caitlin Collins is a CNN anchor who he heavily criticizes all the time as fake news, right? But I think that Donald Trump also finds her incredibly attractive, and low-key part of the reason why she has White House credentials, even though he constantly tries to drag her. And so Caitlin Collins is a very serious reporter. She doesn't smile too often during her reporting. She's just like, she just gives it how it is, and she just talks about it, and she doesn't really show a lot of emotion, which I find really baffling and kind of refreshing in a sense. I have my criticisms of Caitlin Collins, but Donald Trump has a crush on her, is my theory, but nevertheless still finds time to try and crap on her because I guess he's an old grandpa. He has nothing else to do except try to, I don't know, just badger his press. Anyway, Trump doubles down on his attack on CNN's Caitlin Collins by posting a shocking new meme. Now, it's all the way back here. I'm sorry for people who are visually sensitive viewers. This is all the AI slop that he's posted today. It's crazy. Okay. Donald Trump posted this, which, for those people who might not remember, in 2023, Bud Light did a big ad with Dylan Mulvaney, who is a trans woman, doing a Bud Light ad for the Super Bowl. And it was just a Bud Light ad with a trans woman enjoying Bud Light beer. Wasn't anything big, but immediately, because it was Dylan Mulvaney, who is trans, all these right-wing people decided to literally create videos shooting beer cans because a trans person decided to drink beer in a commercial and promote Bud Light. That is the biggest, crap out I've ever seen. Literally, grown men were getting so upset that a trans woman was drinking beer in a commercial promoting a beer company that they were like, this is insane. America is woke, blah, blah, blah. And it became the biggest conundrum in 2023. It was like, really? You petulant children. Men. Am I right? Men. Anyway, so he decides to post Caitlin Collins' face over Dylan Mulvaney. Which I don't know if also the body was enhanced a little bit to have more muscles. I don't know if that was intentional or if Dylan Mulvaney just had muscles. I don't know. But he's constantly trying to make fun of Caitlin Collins by claiming that she never smiles. So President Donald Trump doubled down on his attack against CNN's Caitlin Collins by posting a shocking new meme to his Truth Social account. In a Sunday morning Truth Social post, the president shared a doctored photo depicting Collins in place of trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney in a 2023 Bud Light promotional campaign. Trump's new meme comes on the heels of his attack on the CNN anchor Friday night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, in which he compared Collins to Mulvaney. Quote, I thought Collins had really made it big with the major new sponsorship, Trump said, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney. She never smiles. She never smiles. I said, Caitlin, do you ever smile? Do you ever smile? Smile. You have a nice position. You're at CNN fake news. You should be a happy person. So smile, Caitlin. Just smile. CNN vigorously defended Collins on Friday night following the dinner. In a statement provided to Mediaite after the president's comments, a CNN spokesperson said, Caitlin Collins is an exceptional, trusted journalist being honored tonight for her depth of knowledge and context she provides to the audiences all over the world. She reports every day from the White House and the field with real strength and tenacity, and skillfully brings that reporting to the anchor chair and CNN platforms every day. We stand by her to the fullest extent. Collins seemed to respond to Trump on Saturday by posting a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, the former first lady, which read, quote, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." It's a very classy rebuttal. But it's funny because he is just so obsessed with Caitlin Collins, I low-key think it's kind of a crush. And this was the first AI meme that he posted in a slew of over 30 plus AI memes that Harry Sisson reported he posted in not even just 24 hours, but Harry Sisson at one point was like documented how many. Let's see, where was it? Hold on, where was it? It was a sequence of. Oh my God, there we go. It was a sequence between 11:16 and 5:16. 6 hours. Trump posted 30 plus AI memes in 6 hours because he has nothing else better to do with his life. But it's so funny because the last thing I want to mention on this story before we pivot to the next one is they're like, "Oh, Caitlin Collins never smiles." Olivia Giuliana was like, "Can't confirm that she does smile. You're just a disgusting creep." So like it's just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Um Trump needs Thorazine. I have no idea what that is. No idea what that is. Anyway, let's move on to the next story, y'all. Please make sure to send some likes. You all are incredible. The fact that Donald Trump posted all of those memes that quickly is just absolutely disgusting and crazy. It's crazy. Alrighty. Give me a second. What's our next topic here? Oh, we love this. We love this. Whew. My hair looks messy. Does it look cute messy or bad messy? Hold on. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. How was everyone's weekend, by the way? Hope you all had an amazing weekend. Harry must be exhausted. We all are, but I can't imagine how long that took him to what is it? How long that took him to like put together. Yeah, I know, seriously. Seriously, it's crazy how much he put into that. Alrighty. Let me get readjusted in my chair. Yay. Alrighty. Alrighty. If you are new here, please make sure to say hello and where you're tuning in from. Oh, thank you for the little jewels. Thank you. Sent 6-7 jewels. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. I appreciate all of you for sending likes too. Let's get into this next story here. I appreciate every single one of you. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. That was a coffee burp. Okay. So, how do I even start this segment? You know that Iran war that was supposed to be over already started February 28th. It was supposed to last for what? Hours, couple days, maybe a month. Well, it looks like it's lasting for a lot longer, and everyone, except for Donald Trump, seems to acknowledge that reality. New poll: majority of the United States civilians think that Trump's war with Iran will last months or even years. Yeah, it's so funny because Donald Trump is the same person who is like, we want peace with Iran. We want peace with Iran. You know, they really want to negotiate peace. He's been saying that for months. We have a deal already kind of made up. We already have a deal. Hold on a second. Let me find the post here.
They want to make a deal. Well, they want to make a deal so badly. They want to make a deal so badly. I do see a deal in Iran. It's looking very good that we're going to make a deal. This process should go very quickly. We're going to end that war very quickly. We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal. And they want to make the deal a lot more than I do. We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful. We're making an amazing deal with Iran. They want to make a deal with us very badly. They're dying to make a deal. They're giving us a lot. They want to make a deal so badly.
Jonah Goldberg.
So let's break down some polling here, shall we? So according to a new CBS poll out Sunday, a paltry 9% of Americans believe the war will wrap up in days or weeks. 9%. Less than 1 in 10 people. That's the true deep cult and they believe Trump's words. They truly think that, and they will continue to think that in 2 weeks. They'll continue to believe that in 2 months. They'll be like, yep, it's going to end in the next couple days or weeks. Whereas 37% think the conflict will go on for months, and another 21% say it will last for years. 33% responded that they are not sure. And a prolonged conflict is not what the vast majority of Americans want, according to the survey. 67% of the respondents told CBS News pollsters that they want the conflict to end now, compared to just 33% who said the conflict should keep going until Iran makes further concessions. Let me actually show you. Go away, ad. Boo. Boo, ad. Sorry, hold on. Let me actually show you the breakdown here. Across the months of the Iran conflict, the public continues to express 3 main ideas. Number 1, a perceived lack of clarity about what's happening day to day in the Strait of Hormuz. Number 2, there are plenty of important goals that the U.S. could seek now that we are in the conflict. And number 3, that the conflict is not going well. That's a very, very dry way to put it. So how do people feel about the U.S. conflict with Iran? 58% say that they feel frustrated, and these are like, you can respond with multiple answers. 57% of people say they feel frustrated and uncertain, 58%. Pessimistic is 36%. Only 19% say optimistic. Conflict with Iran has been harder or easier than the Trump admin expected. Harder than expected is 76%. Who are these delusional 4%? I just truly don't know. The public expressed goals that have been consistent. Expressed goals have been consistent. It remains the most important for the Americans to open the Strait of Hormuz, especially as gas prices rise back home. What's most important for the U.S. to do regarding Iran? Open the Strait of Hormuz and oil access. At 86%, 79% say make sure Iran's people are safe and free. I would love to see that. I truly would. I think a lot of people would like to see that. 76% permanently stop Iran's nuclear programs. 72% say stop Iran from threatening other countries. How much longer will military conflict with Iran last? 9% say days or weeks. That's the true deep cult that truly believes Donald Trump's words. No matter how many times he says 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, they're always going to believe that it's going to be the next day he's going to fix it, or the next week he's going to fix it. How many times do these people have to be proven wrong before they start to realize it? This is what truly being brainless looks like. I don't want to be pessimistic. A lot of people are like, oh, everyone that votes for Trump is in a deep cult. I truly believe that there are a lot of people who are duped again. But this 9%, this is about what the deep cult MAGA is in this country. 1 in 10 people. 1 in 10 people is the deep, deep cult. That's my understanding. 37% said months, 21% said years, 33% said not sure. My understanding is that this is going to last for years. Given that a preference for ending the war as opposed to pressing for more concessions from Iran remains the majority view. So this YouGov poll says the conflict with Iran, what should the U.S. do now? June says end the conflict now. And that was June. Now it's 67%. And a lot more people are saying continue conflict until Iran gives up more. So a lot of people are starting to go like, okay, we'll continue the conflict, but we need more concessions. That seems crazy to me. The conflict Iran, what should the US do now? Democrats say end the conflict now. 8% says continue conflict until Iran gives up more concessions. A lot of independents want to end the conflict now. And Republicans, 3 in 10 Republicans. So it's a lot of people want this to end now, but the Republicans, most of them don't. And also when you break it down by age, it's not surprising that young people are like, please just stop. We just need to stop this. The older you are, the more likely you are to support the Iran war. And the more Republican you are, the more likely you are to support the Iran war. And so it's not necessarily telling us anything we don't know, but just breaking it out by data. Trump makes things with Iran sound better than they really are, 60%. Worse than they really are, 15%. 25% about as they really are. Trump is constantly trying to sound like we are winning the war against Iran. I don't know where some people are getting their understanding from. Getting clear understanding of the situation in the Strait of Hormuz? No. Donald Trump will go back and forth habitually being like, the strait is closed, open the strait, you crazy bastards. And then going to the next day being like, we hold the Strait of Hormuz, being like, we don't need it. The man flip-flops so much, he might as well be a pancake. Bless his heart. How is the conflict with Iran going for the U.S.? Well, or somewhat well. March was at 43, May at 38, now 37. Very or somewhat badly, going from 57% to 62% to 63%. Who has the advantage in the U.S.-Iran conflict? The U.S., 40% believe the U.S. has the advantage. If we have the advantage, then why have we not been able to end this war? 38% says neither side. 22% say Iran. Y'all, Iran is the one that's kicking our ASS. I'm sorry. I don't like that, but they are. They really are. Because they continue to hold this Strait of Hormuz hostage. U.S. taking action against Iran. 44% of people approved. May, it's 39% now. Still 39% disapprove. So, anyway. Is your income keeping up with inflation? Yeah. So when you also want to break it down by some other polls here, I also want to show globally. So this is really interesting here. 81% on average across 31 countries think their country should avoid getting involved in the current conflict in the Middle East. I'll show you that polling in a second. This is from Ipsos. I appreciate every single one of you. Is there a super chat or anything in here? How is this polling still above anything negative? Yeah, no, seriously. That's genuinely. The more he says it, the more his cult believes it, despite the evidence. Yeah, that's what happens when a felon has done nothing but rip people off his whole entire life. Participating in Ponzi schemes. Yeah, you have that right, Amanda. You have that right, Amanda. Hello, Thundersource. MAGA, manipulating America's gullible assholes. Yeah, that's really a better acronym. Trump is starting to realize that Iran puts up a bigger fight than a 13-year-old girl. That's an insult to 13-year-old girls. We had a nuclear agreement with Obama. Yep, and that was ripped up. The JCPOA, that basically, in exchange for the United States and a lot of other countries, including Russia, China, the UK, France, at least, being able to have surveillance over Iran and their nuclear program, we provided sanctions relief. And guess who tore up that deal? It was Donald Trump. So we had a deal where countries were actually making sure that Iran would not build a nuclear weapon. Trump tore up that deal. And then he got mad that Iran started developing nuclear weapons, according to some intelligence. He's the one that actively got mad at his own actions, honey. If 77 million people vote for a foolish thing, it's still a foolish thing. Yeah, 100%. Like, take MAGA and move them to an island. They can live under King Dr. Jesus's rule. Yeah, no, seriously. I don't know about the older, but definitely more Republican bit. Yeah, the older you are, the more likely you are, according to data. Like, the younger you are, the more likely you are to oppose it. It's just borne out by that data there. So, Dementia Donnie, yeah. Um, so going to global attitudes regarding this Iran war, 81% on average across 31 countries think that their country should avoid getting involved in the current conflict in the United States. 81%. So it's 4 in 5 people, and across these 31 countries are like, yeah, no, I'm not touching that with a 39.5-foot pole. 71% of Americans think their country should not be involved in the Iran war, and this rises to 79% for those aged 18 through 34. In the U.S., Israel is the only country in the U.S. Israel is the only country where people are more in favor of being involved than not. 33% think the war will last until 2027 or beyond. 31% think that it will end by the end of this year, and 26% within 3 months, and 10% within the next month. Yeah, that 10%, truly, they're the ones that are the deep cult. In 27 out of the 29 countries surveyed in April 2026 and last autumn, the proportion who think the US will have a positive impact on the world has fallen. Yeah, yeah. On average, across 30 countries, a greater proportion think China, 50%, will have a positive impact on the world than the United States, 39% over the next decade. So, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Your country should avoid getting involved militarily in the current conflict in the Middle East. These are the 31 countries that were surveyed, and this is the average. The sort of the teal here is strongly agree. The mint here is somewhat agree. The light blue is somewhat disagree, and the navy blue is strongly disagree. Starting with Hungary, yeah, it looks like 71 plus 22, so that's 93% are like, yeah, don't want to get involved in that. Why does my ring light spontaneously change colors? I do not understand. I don't get it. It just does it. It does it in the middle of the broadcast, and I don't get it. Indonesia, Thailand, Germany, Poland, South Africa, Singapore, New Zealand, Sweden, India, Australia, Malaysia, Italy, Ireland, Netherlands, Great Britain, France, South Korea, Canada, Colombia, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Japan, Mexico, Belgium, Peru, Turkey, Spain, all are like, yeah, really, we should not be getting involved with that in the United States. Like, let's just not do that. We do not need to get involved with this conflict with Iran and Israel and all that stuff. Also, what's really interesting here is even like you see the United States, like you can see here the breakdown. 66% are like, yep. The United States should not be getting involved in the Middle East. What I found really fascinating is look at the respondents for Israel. You have at least 43%. 43% of respondents in Israel, in the actual country of Israel, are saying, yes, we should not be getting involved with wars in the Middle East. 43% of people in Israel have that view. And here's the thing. The fact that Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government continue to try and like terrorize the Middle East by conquering and taking more territory puts a threat on Israelis as well. So I'm looking at this and I'm kind of shocked, but also I shouldn't be. But of course, a lot of them want more and more land, especially with settler occupation, all of that. So I just find it fascinating how, it looks like a lot of people are starting to wake up and smell the coffee that, yeah, this war is going to last for a long time. Even though Fox News pundits literally in March were like, yep, it's going to be over in the next couple days. April, yep, it's going to be over in the next week. Yep, in May, yep, it's going to be over next month. Yeah, that aged like hot milk out in the hot sun. And it gets even worse because Trump's UN ambassador won't commit to Iran war ending in 2026 when pressed by NBC's Welker, not going to put a timeline on it. Why is the video not loading? I don't understand. I do not understand. There was a video here. What's going on? Hold on a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Oh, I guess the video was taken down. You see here? That's weird. Okay. Okay. Love that. Love that. So wonderful. Fox propaganda machine, yeah. Who let the trolls out? Woof. Woof. um, enjoy your soapbox. This isn't a discussion. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is a news broadcast. And I do occasionally read out your comments here. I try to do it more and more. I'm all for sending felons out of the country. We should start with Trump. Yeah, I agree. I agree with the sending Trump out of the country. So, anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. We have 86 people in here. Y'all are awesome. Let's move on to the next story here, shall we? Sorry. Oh my God. Yeah, let's get to this. Let's get to this. So, this is crazy. And I'm processing this in real time. We're going to be hearing more about this in the coming days. Senator Lindsey Graham, the MAGA senator from South Carolina who ended up dying recently, one of the biggest war hawks that got us into the Iran war, good friends with Benjamin Netanyahu, and was basically whispering sweet nothings in Trump's ear to get him to bomb Iran. And yet now we are stuck in this war. And this is so interesting. I almost cried. Previously unseen footage shows Lindsey Graham jubilant over Iran war. So new video footage is coming out. This is crazy. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who died earlier this month at the age of 71, was never quiet about his desire for a military assault on Iran. But previously unreleased footage filmed for a documentary that was in the works before South Carolina lawmaker's death shows Graham reacting with unrestrained jubilance to President Donald Trump's decision in late February to launch a large-scale attack on Iran in coordination with the Israeli government. Look what we've done here, said a joyful Graham shortly after the U.S. Israeli bombing campaign began. I almost cried. I mean, how long have we been pushing for this? That's wild. Hold on. Let's watch on X.
Virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries.
Look what we've done here. I almost cried.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long have we been pushing this?
Well, you've been pushing this for years, right?
Right, it's here. I talked to Trump this morning.
Literally.
Oh, he's jacked. It's the best thing I've ever done. He loves blowing stuff up. So, there are a lot of people inside didn't want to do it. So I've had my challenges. But President Trump, when he gets into the zone, he listens, he asks good questions, no tweeting.
Virtually everything.
That last part, wow. He was like, I almost cried. Hold on. Wait, watch that one more time. Hold on.
Look what we've done here. I almost cried.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long have we been pushing this?
Well, you've been pushing this for years, right?
Right, it's here. I talked to Trump this morning.
Literally.
Oh, he's jacked. It's the best thing I've ever done.
The best thing that he's ever done, pressing for this useless, disgusting, and deplorable Iran war that is putting a huge economic burden on U.S. consumers in the rising gas prices because, and which we wouldn't have if we were to transition to clean energy, just saying. We wouldn't have to be reliant on foreign oil. But the best thing he's ever done is launching a war that's unalived so many innocent people on both sides, U.S. civilian, or not U.S. civilians, but U.S. service members, and also Iranian civilians. It's just, imagine the lack of empathy, the lack of humanity that these lawmakers have to basically, I almost cry. He said, I almost cried at the fact that now we're in this war with Iran. You're not viewing people as people. You're viewing them as like vermin. You can view them as, it's just so, it baffles my mind that there are people out there that celebrate that kind of stuff. It hurts my soul. I would argue that if you're someone who this doesn't affect, like, if you watch this and you have the same reaction, truly, you need to go get some help because you need to have empathy. You need to connect as a human being. And for anyone that's like, "Oh my god, don't speak ill of Lindsey Graham." Why? Why? This is what he celebrates. I'm no fan of Iran and what their leadership has done to their own country. I'm not a fan at all. They've unalived their own people. Though, war is not the answer. Us getting involved and bombing civilian infrastructure, which is a war crime, is not how we fix it. Celebrating the deaths of people is not how we fix it. And now this is what it's just I encourage you to have some humanity. If you don't look at this and you are not normal. I mean, I'm not normal, but you are not a normal person if you see this and you don't feel you don't feel moral outrage. I understand that many of us are desensitized to crap like this, but we shouldn't have to be. I strive to live in a world where we can feel this kind of disgust at lawmakers that rejoice in the war hawk kind of politics. Like, I find it so disgusting. We don't have to live this way, you know. United States, we don't have to be at the whims of these whiny politicians that get away with this kind of crap. We can reclaim our government to have ethics and morality again and accountability. We just have to take up the reins to do so. I'm just over it. I'm just over it.
He loves blowing stuff up. So, there are a lot of people inside didn't want to do it. So I've had my challenges. But President Trump, when he gets into the zone, he listens, he asks good questions, no tweeting.
Virtually everything they have has been.
I'm surprised that Lindsey Graham was able to get Trump to listen to him. The way he describes him, it's almost as if it's a very labor-intensive process to get the president of the United States to sit down, shut up, and listen for a second. That's also a big thing to note from this. When he's describing his interactions with Trump, it's like you're having to control a nuclear explosion. You're having to, like, run a nuclear power plant. It takes very precise programming in order for Donald Trump to actually listen, which that should show you in itself the kind of character temperament that Donald Trump has, or lack thereof, I should say. So it's fascinating. That's fascinating. The warmonger got his wish, and the result has been a catastrophe, Brian, senior advisor to the U.S. Program on International Crisis, wrote in a response to the footage, adding that that it is particularly outrageous for a U.S. senator to lobby the president to violate the Constitution. Lindsey's legacy will include the mass slaughter on Iranian children in a school in Manab on the opening day of the war. That's also another thing. We, the United States, have been bombing civilian infrastructure. Is bombing civilian infrastructure a war crime? Yes. Deliberately bombing civilian infrastructure that has no military purpose is a war crime under international humanitarian law. So, Donald Trump is a war criminal. I'm sorry. That's just objectively how it is. It is a violation of international humanitarian law for when countries are at war to bomb civilian infrastructure. Lindsey Graham is a war criminal. What, am I supposed to, like, be sensitive to the deaths of a family of war criminals? They rejoiced in deaths of other people. Why should I extend empathy to them? I am just following the ideology that you put out into the world, and now you get mad because you don't get a special exception. Crimea River. Clutch your pearls harder. So, looking at all of this here, it makes me sick.
Able to deliver. Oh, to be honest with you, I think about 3 to 4 weeks, we should have them in a spot where they start losing control of some cities.
March 4th. March 4th up here.
And what we're trying to do is just get a few cities to fall in the next month. Get the Arabs more openly involved tomorrow or by the end of the week. And just have almost irreversible momentum.
The war is now in its 5th month without a clear end in sight, and no Iranian cities have fallen. America is so much worse off listening to this warmonger's deranged fantasies. Trita Parsi, executive vice president of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, wrote on social media. Estimates indicate more than 3,500 Iranians have been killed by the U.S.-Israeli bombing since late February, and at least 18 service members have been killed during the war. Though there is a considerable amount of skepticism about the figure, given the Pentagon's lack of transparency and accounting maneuvers. Disgusting. I don't want anyone to tell me that, like, oh, Lindsey Graham was a nice person in private. He probably was in some capacity to certain people. But his politics, absolutely disgusting. Pro-war, pro-violence, pro-genocide. Like, why am I supposed to feel sorry about his death? No. No. If anything, I'm honoring his legacy by being pro-death. I'm honoring his legacy. This is what his politics were. If you find it deplorable and disgusting, I would say you're a natural, normal person. So, anyway. Lady Liberty is hanging her head in shame. Yeah. 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 Pete Kegsbreath, appoint a drunk, expect a crap show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, seriously. So for everyone that is like, wait a minute. So Donald Trump bombing, like our country bombing Iran, our country bombing civilian infrastructure is a war crime? Yes. Yes, it is. I know that might sound really uncomfortable, but our president is a war criminal. I don't think it's okay. I don't care what his partisanship is. I don't care that he's our existing president. War criminal. So, anyway. Thank you all for the little gifts. Let's get on to the next story here. I appreciate every single one of you. You all are amazing. I really do. All right, let me clip that. Na. All right. What do we want to talk about next? Whoop. Let's see. All right. I'm going to talk about the DNC because this is interesting. All right. Okay. I want to see here in the chat first before I start doing this. Have you all seen or heard about the DNC's troubles within the last 24 hours? Just type yes or no. Have you seen/heard of the DNC's scandals and troubles the last 24 hours? Reply yes or no. Make sure to answer in the chat below. Have you all seen or heard of the DNC scandals or troubles within the last 24 hours? Not yet? Okay, we have one saying not yet. Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. Okay. Oh, it's so nice when people respond and I'm glad that I'm able to bring this information to you. Okay. Let's talk about this here. So apparently the DNC is in major trouble and major upheaval. Now, is this the biggest scandal of all scandals? No. Though it highlights a bigger problem that the DNC has, which is about money. And so DNC boss Ken Martin apparently ended up throwing his phone at a junior aide's desk in a fit of frustration, Wild New York Times report reveals. Now, I do not have a subscription to the New York Times. I don't read the New York Times. I don't have not seen the original story. Despite polls indicating promising news on the horizon for Democrats, the party's infrastructure is reportedly in complete turmoil, mostly about money. A wild report in the New York Times Sunday painted a picture of a Democratic National Committee in total chaos, with the DNC fending off creditors and its boss feeling so stressed he chucked a phone at a staffer's desk. For anyone that's like, "Oh my god, that's crazy." It's not great, but I wanna know what the initial claim is here. According to the piece is according to the piece by the Times' Shane Goldmacher and Reed J. Epstein. Reed J. Epstein. I wonder if there's any relation there. The DNC is so cash strapped that it is asking for vendors to hold off on invoicing them until after the midterms. The Times reports the DNC is $2 million in debt, while the RNC has approximately $128.5 million cash on hand. Well, let's also put in perspective here. Corporations have made right-wing pivots, and so this really goes to show you how much money that the Republican Party has been able to garner from very pro-corporate interests. So the fact it's a two-sided coin here. It shows that the DNC is not able to raise a whole bunch of money, but it also shows that the RNC is becoming very, very popular for corporations to donate to them. So, what does that say about those corporations? What does that say about our current campaign finance infrastructure and how our corrupt system, what they're funding and choosing to fund? We need campaign finance reform so badly. And the pressure has gotten so heavy on DNC chairman that he appears to be a cracking. Mr. Martin's fraying nerves are showing, Goldmacher and Epstein wrote. In a pick of frustration, in early July, he threw his phone at the desk of a junior aide while upbraiding the person. The phone tossing incident resulted in formal complaint to the DNC's Human Resources Department. Throwing the phone. Okay. He threw his phone at the desk of a junior aide. So here's the thing, throwing the phone at a desk of the person. So I guess you throw it like down towards the bottom part of the desk. Was this a standing desk? Were you throwing it at the person at their desk? Was this his phone? Was this someone else's phone? Now, I mean, it is a serious thing, but compare it to all the crazy, awful, deplorable, disgusting things other people have done in recent years. This doesn't really hold too much of a candle. That being said, though, I mean, it's not cool. It's not cool. It shows that Ken Martin might have a moment, but also we've all done those kinds of things. I'm not making excuses for him, but if you're going to like, I'm covering this because it's serious. I wonder if this person ended up getting hurt or felt threatened, and that's why they put in a call to the Human Resources Department. So, Martin has been feeling a growing sense of paranoia, according to the report, about a potential move to oust him. Well, probably for good reasons. The reporter said Martin has also become paralyzed by the idea of leaks, although that hasn't stopped them from happening. As to his handling of the organization's finances, Martin has been called out for a number of moves, which have put the cash-strapped party apparatus in a further bind. On his watch, the DNC paid $7.3 million for the remnants of former Vice President Kamala Harris's 2024 campaign list, money which was used to cover Harris's campaign debts. And the DNC has dropped $840,000 on territories such as Puerto Rico and Guam, which Goldmacher and Epstein note will not have any impact on the control of Congress. Why are we dropping that amount of money on Puerto Rico and Guam? to organize those people there. I mean, that's cool. I would love to see if Puerto Rico and Guam choose to become states. I would totally support that if they choose to. Um, but like, I don't know, and maybe I'm just missing something. There could be context that's left out, but Puerto Rico and Guam, we don't have elected representatives. They are territories of the United States that they don't have any representation in Congress. So that's a very interesting thing for the DNC to be pouring money into. But we, of course, could be missing a valid reason. The DNC is maintaining a nothing to see here posture regarding their finances. Martin penned a Substack essay on Monday defending his fundraising and spending strategy. And Roger Lau, the executive director of the DNC, told The Times in a statement that the request to vendors to hold off on sending their invoices for months is nothing more than standard negotiations with vendors over contracts and payment processes. I don't know, and I cannot verify whether that is true, though it is at least worth like cocking your eyebrow at. Now, I'm more concerned with the fact that the DNC is broke. I'm more concerned with that. That's what he should be more concerned with. Blockbuster reports on DNC chaos send shockwaves. Quote, "This is so embarrassing." The pair of damning stories about the DNC and its chairman Ken Martin have sent shockwaves across the political world on Sunday. First up was a report from the New York Times, which I revealed earlier, that Martin threw his phone at a junior aide's desk. We also don't know if that's exaggerated or not. I'm really curious about understanding more of that. The Times also delved into the DNC's financial woes as they reported the DNC is currently $2 million in the red, while Republican counterparts have more than 9 figures in the black. And again, I mentioned earlier, that isn't necessarily always the biggest flex, because that means that the Republican National Committee is taking endless amounts of money from corporations, billionaires, and donors and stuff like that. The DNC, your job is to raise money. It is to bring in money, but like, it also shows that Republicans are way more willing to take all this money from corporations. So who's really on the working class person's side? But of course, a lot of working class people don't want to donate to Democrats because they try to shove the moderate version onto all the electorate. So people are like, yeah, I don't want to give the DNC money. I don't want to give the DNC money. Are you kidding me? No. I'd rather donate it to progressive candidates. A subsequent report from Notice, the outlet, shed even more light on the DNC's money problems. The DNC put its own headquarters up as collateral last year to obtain a $15 million loan. So they put up their own headquarters, building headquarters, as collateral in order to obtain a $15 million loan. Though the move is not unprecedented, Notice reported that the fact that it was not done in an election year is being seen by some members as a cause for extra concern. And there may be another shoe about to drop. Bulwark's Sam Stein posted on X that his outlet is preparing its own report on the DNC boss. Interesting. This is not sustainable, MS Now Joe Scarborough posted on X. Anyone who cares about the Democratic Party, including Ken Martin, would say enough. The DNC is flat out broke. This must change now. And a lot of people were like, yep, time for Ken Martin to go. Ken Martin's tenure is effectively over. It's so clear that no one respects him and he is terrible at the job. It's just a matter of how long the rest of us have to wait until he accepts the inevitable. It's just bad all around. On some level, I feel bad for Ken, who is now under the untenable level of scrutiny. But fundamentally, this is a fundraising job, and the guy in the job is not good at it. So, yeah. The DNC needs to make a hard, progressive push if they really want to be successful. Because the party's voters, the progressive base, Democrats themselves, are not a big fan of the DNC. Because the DNC constantly pushes moderates to the front. Moderates, which are way more unpopular. The voters of the Democratic Party do not approve of the party, of the party apparatus, of the DNC, because they do everything they possibly can to spit in the face of Democratic voters. I used to work for Democrat campaigns. I would receive this feedback all the time. I didn't work for the DNC, but I was involved in some of those circles, and people were not a fan because the DNC likes to control what its voters think is important. That's what they try to push to control what they want the voters to think, believe, and say. For Democrats, we're not going to do that. Progressives are not going to do that. We're not going to be controlled by what the party elites want. We say no. No, we have our own thoughts, we have our own beliefs, we have our own ideology. We do not want the moderates of our party to control what we do and say. That's Republican crap. The RNC pushes its voters to become MAGA. MAGA erupts and becomes, solidified and organized like that. The RNC pushes and controls its voters. The DNC ain't like that. Democrats have critical thinking. We have independence. We're not easily controlled by our party apparatus. We're not like the Trump cultists that will follow what Trump wants. So the DNC struggling with fundraising, it's not shocking or surprising to me. The reason why you don't got money is because no one takes you seriously. No one actually cares to donate money to you. Because you push moderates on us, and then you expect us to support you. So anyway, just wanted to report on that there, because that's an interesting little tidbit. Let's move on to the next story here. I appreciate every single one of you. You all are amazing. Please make sure to send some likes. Y'all are awesome. Let's see. Do we want to talk about Haley Stevens? Let's talk about Haley Stevens. Okay. Let's talk about Haley Stevens. First of all, in the chat here, are you all familiar with who Haley Stevens is and what she is running for? Reply yes or no in the chat. Okay. Are you all familiar? Please answer yes or no in the chat below. Are you all familiar with who Haley Stevens is and what office she is running for? Capitalism. Yeah, seriously. Good news, I've lost 9 pounds. Congrats, that's awesome. Oh, I had to go to the hospital because the virus from the iceberg might last for weeks. Oh my God, we have someone who has cyclospora in here. Yeah. So I'm seeing mixed responses. I said, are you familiar with Haley Stevens and what she is running for? Reply yes or no in the chat. I see a no, yes, no, yes, yes. Okay. So we know who Haley Stevens is for a couple of us in here. Should I launch it as a poll? Actually, I'm curious. I'm actually going to launch a poll here. Sorry, I'm ending the sentence with a preposition. English majors, don't hate me. Alrighty. I just launched a poll. Please make sure to answer in the poll. No, but just from the picture, I don't like her already. Yeah. Isn't she running for Senate? She is. So we're going to talk about Haley Stevens here. We're going to talk about Haley Stevens here, but I'm going to give it another minute for people to answer in the poll here. Make sure to answer below. Haley Stevens is a character, okay? She is a character. All right. I see 58% say that they are familiar with her. Okay. 12 votes in here. Most people at least know who she is. Broadly, it's about a 60-40 split. Or maybe half and half split. Okay. Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. I always like to know just in case, because it puts it in perspective because I haven't talked about Haley Stevens on my channel yet, on my platform. Okay. Let's talk about Haley Stevens. She is the Democrat, one of the Democrats running in Michigan for the Senate against El Abdul Said. And no, hold on. I said his name backwards. Give me a second. I'm gonna reclip that. Hold on. Okay. Let's talk about Haley Stevens. She is a Democrat running for Senate in Michigan against Abdul El Said. And let me just show you one of the clips here in particular. Now, there is criticism rightfully of her. I don't want people to get distracted with ways to criticize her that make those arguments less valid. You'll understand what I mean here in a minute. She is a character nonetheless. I do not support her for Senate. I'll just clearly say it out loud. I do not. No. I encourage people, if you're in Michigan, to support Abdul El Said. That being said, this is just kind of who she is here. And she has a lot of scandals and corruption that we'll talk about. This is also just her talking.
Okay, some of you have seen, there's those cool kids on the internet. They're doing the cool kid chatter. Some of them might be the coastal elites, making fun of how I talk. Not okay, says my governor. But let's be real. They're making fun of Michigan. They're thinking they're better than us.
I'm sorry, I have to stop. This face. She's like doing an SNL skit impersonation of herself. Like, this is just crazy. She's just a character. Like, she's corrupt. She's corrupt, and there's a lot of things that I'll talk about with her, but I just she goes, they're making fun of Michigan.
Not okay, says my governor. But let's be real. They're making fun of Michigan. They're thinking they're better than us. And what they don't know is I am your voice. And their jokes and their criticism only makes me fight harder.
She's giving off the chaotic energy of Kamala Harris. That should tell you something, America. That should tell you something. She, like her like kind of word salad vibe, the kind of weird energy. It gives off the kookiness that Kamala Harris also low-key kind of has. So let's go into who Haley Stevens is here a little bit. Okay. So this is just insane here. And this is kind of the Republican crap that we'll see. This is, before I broadly define it, let's just go into this. All right. Underhanded. Haley Stevens. That's my impersonation of Haley Stevens. They don't know Michigan. Bless her. She's a character. Underhanded. Stevens sends out fake El Said press release claiming he's endorsed by their GOP opponent. GOP just means Republican. So she puts out fake El Said press release claiming that he's endorsed, El Said is, by the Republican opponent. Not only was the press release fake, but Republican Mike Rogers didn't even endorse. Why would a Republican endorse what Democrat he wants to run against? Like that what? No, that's stupid. I mean, they would probably do that, but that's not what happened. Okay. With less than 2 weeks before the critical Democratic Senate primary in Michigan, Representative Haley Stevens is reportedly resorting to some underhanded tactics to attack her opponent. Dr. Abdul El Sayed, or Saeed, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's really cool. He's really cool. At one point, and I know I'm getting sidetracked, at one point, he was filmed reading a book to kids about, greed, and was like, "Yeah, do you need that much money? Do you need that many cupcakes, or do you wanna share around? Because you might get a stomach ache from eating all those cupcakes. So when billionaires have that much money, is it good for that?" And he was basically sharing that sentiment, and the kids were agreeing. The kids were the ones that were like, "Yeah, you don't need that many cupcakes. You don't need that much money." And it was like, and it's so funny because Trump at one point was like, he's a communist Marxist socialist. And I'm like, okay. Um, attacking her opponent, Dr. Abdul El Sayed, by sending out an email making it appear as if he was celebrating an endorsement from the Republican rival. Remington Hernandez, a political reporter at WWMT TV, reported on Thursday that the Stevens campaign had sent a fake press release meant to look like it had come from El Sayed's team. Oh my God, this is some Republican MAGA type crap, okay? Endorsement alert. Mike Rogers endorses Abdul El Sayed in the Democratic U.S. Senate primary, the email says, beneath an Abdul for Senate graphic, identical to the one used in his campaign communications. Oh my God. Stevens' campaign just sent a press release meant to look like a release from El Sayed's campaign claiming Mike Rogers had endorsed El Sayed. I'm actually speechless at that. I'm speechless at that. The email quotes Rogers, a former Republican U.S. congressman expected to become the Republican nominee for Senate, saying he wants to face El Sayed in the general election because he's easier to beat than Stevens. That's what Rogers thinks. Whether that's true or not is different. If he wins, I think we're in good shape, it quotes Rogers saying, I think we'll do well if he is in fact the nominee. That's not an endorsement. That's not an endorsement at all. There's a difference between a preference of who you want to go up against and an endorsement. But this is just dirty politics, of course, coming from what's her face? Haley Stevens, who is an AIPAC-backed Democrat. Ew. Okay. The quote from Rogers is real. It comes from CNN report published on Thursday about a call with supporters last month, in which he reportedly called El Sayed, quote, so radical, end quote, for wanting to redistribute wealth and not have billionaires and have representation that isn't bought by Israel. Yeah, that's radical, I guess. And predicted he'd, quote, lose big parts of the West part of the state. But But it is not true, as the email claims that Rogers had endorsed El Sayed. Ben Salas, a reporter at the Michigan Advance, who also received the email, noted that it appeared designed to look authentic, with multiple graphics at the bottom mimicking those El Sayed's social media team had posted following actual endorsements. So think about what this means. This means that Haley Stevens' campaign, her lackluster, pathetic campaign, literally took the time to craft this fake graphic in order to make it look like her Republican opponent, her possible Republican opponent, endorsed her opponent in a sleazy way. So you went on to your opponent, you went on to Abdul El Sayed's, I guess, platform to take his branding and his logo and all that stuff to create fake information and put it out there. Democrats, we are not doing ourselves a favor if we support Stevens. You know why? Because when we claim that Trump is doing things that are fabricated and fake, they can point to crap like this. They can be like, well, you're doing it too. It makes our words hollow. It makes our words hollow. Of course, Republicans are not going to abide by that anyway. They're going to play dirty no matter what. But the point is here, it weakens our position to have someone like Stevens because of this kind of crud, this kind of crap. And also Haley Stevens, she's an AIPAC-backed Democrat, so we don't need that. But This is the kind of crap that she does. Instead of focusing on policy positions, instead of running a campaign based on substance and issues, you're doing this kind of crud? Yeah, Michigan, get out there and support what is it? Abdul El Said, because Haley Stevens is insane. She's insane. Um I just I love this. Haley Stevens, Mike Rogers, weapons for Israel. Yeah, no, seriously. Look how much money. Look how much money. Look at this. $30 million. Missed posting this one. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to verify it. CC at the FAC. If a campaign intentionally created a document that falsely appeared to come from another campaign or misrepresented an endorsement, that could implicate state election laws prohibiting fraudulent campaign materials, these vary by state, trademark or copyright law if the logo is protected, common law claims like false endorsement or unfair competition, and in some circumstances, laws against election fraud or deceptive election practices. Have to make fake posters because you're sharing the real one would be embarrassing for you. Yeah, and by the way, Abdul El Said, I always mix that up. Polling wise is doing better than Stevens is versus Mike Rogers. So when you break it down, it seems that Abdul El Said is actually performing better than Haley Stevens would be against Mike Rogers. I have to verify this graphic here. This one is from Mitchell Research Communications poll. But I would have to conduct some research on specifically that polling. Haley, here's another fact about you. Proud to be endorsed by Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm not sure whether this is authentic or not, but Haley Stevens does take a lot of money from pro-Israel interests. So, $30 million. Michigan AIPAC lady becomes AIPAC's largest investment ever. I see Israel in my dream. Oh, yeah, I'll show you that video here in a minute. This is dishonest. You accepted support from AIPAC and MAGA-aligned donors. Acting like you're above outside influence does not hold up. Yeah. Michigan's Jewish population is about 1%, so I have a few questions. Why is AIPAC sending tens of millions trying to buy Michigan Senate primary? Also, there's a difference between Jewish voters and the state of Israel. Why did AIPAC spend billions to defeat Michigan's Jewish congressman, Andy Levin? If both Stevens and Rogers are reliable votes for Israel and AIPAC succeeded in buying this primary election, how does that help or hurt Michigan class Michiganders? Yeah. So let me show you some other things here because Haley Stevens does this kind of crud, but she's also incredibly corrupt. And I'll share that in a minute. I'm going insane. At no point in any of the CNN reporting does Rogers express a preference for El Said. He was specifically asked about El Said and expressed confidence to donors that he could beat him as he would if he were asked about Stevens. This is a completely fake story. That is insane. I think if he wins, we're in good shape, Rogers said while responding to a campaign about his strategy for El Said. I mean, I think he's so radical. I think he's going to lose big parts of the west part of the state. I think we can do well in part of the southeast part of the state. I think we'll do well, in fact, if he is our nominee. That's not an endorsement. That is not an endorsement. This is the pitch to donors. It's clear he knows he will be in trouble, but he can't admit that. It's not an endorsement. But the Haley Stevens campaign is so sleazy that they try to craft it to make it look like it's an endorsement. What do you all think in here? I mean, and this is what you criticize Haley Stevens for. Not her crazy voice and weird kooky things, okay? That's just her being her, okay? If just criticizing her for that is stupid. Now, I'll point it out because I find it entertaining, but criticize her for her positions. Let's see. What do you all think so far? I'm getting dizzy from the clown car fumes. Haley Stevens, don't you know? Yeah. Okay, I'm not seeing Emperor needs new clothes. Yeah. I'm not seeing any comments necessarily about this here. But I also want to bring out this here. Haley Stevens' Palantir consultant scandal draws attention to her record on ice. So, Senate candidate Haley Stevens' campaign has also been marked for $30 million in support from AIPAC. Up until this week, House Representative and Democratic Senate candidate Haley Stevens' campaign shared a mutual consultant with far-right tech surveillance company Palantir, new reporting reveals, bringing renewed attention to Stevens' record on ice as she faces a contentious race against Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan. Drop Site's News' Ryan Grimm reported on Thursday the consultant, Caitlin Lagacki, was consulting for Stevens' communications outfit while also, quote, secretly consulting for Palantir. Lagacki was one of Stevens' key spokespeople as the local outlet Michigan Advance wrote. That is wild. Hold on a second. Let me pull it up. That's just Drop Site News. Hold on. Reported on Thursday. Scoop. Caitlin Lagacki has been terminated from Haley Stevens' campaign after my inquiry to them about her dual role as consultant for Palantir. A spokesperson for the campaign tells me that Haley was unaware of Ms. Lagacki's work for Palantir. Yeah, if that were true, that means that your staff are incompetent as well. But also, you're seeking out the same people, so that already shows that you're not serious about that. Like, and that's the thing. You could say, "Oh, well, it's ignorance or incompetence." Choose one. I think it's probably a mixture of both. Her contract with the campaign was terminated. She is no longer consulting with the company. Lagacki is also a senior fellow for Third Way, which has also heavily played a role in the Michigan race against Abdul El-Sayed. This is what what Lagacki says here. Okay. This is the kind of people she's listening to. I haven't seen this clip.
There is not a single example in the past 50 years of a far left candidate flipping a seat from red to blue.
A lot of times because they've never been given the chance, honey.
The numbers don't lie. Like, if there is simply no track record of a socialist or a far left candidate being able to go into a purple or a red district and winning.
Well, guess what? There are many people who are more farther left that are doing very well now. So why not give it a try?
May win the primary, but they have not won a general election. And so I think, look, this could be the year it changes. I could be wrong. Maybe I am. But I think that track record bears out. And specifically from my personal experience, we've talked about Missouri. Claire McCaskill won.
I love how they're trying to point out that it's far left candidates don't do well. Let's point out the recent losses for Democrats, okay? When Democrats often put up a moderate milquetoast status quo person, they'll lose. I'll give you one big example. Kamala Harris. She lost Michigan. She lost all the swing states. Meanwhile, you're focusing on, they've never won. Because they've never been given the opportunity. It's insane to me.
In 2012 by 13 points when Obama lost the state by 16 because we elevated a far-right candidate who was so unpalatable to eat.
Elevating a far-right candidate as an idea to people are not going to vote for them. How did we get Donald effing Trump then? These people are so stupid. So annoying.
Even Missouri voters that they couldn't stomach.
They get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts to listen to these dip craps.
The question has to be, who is the candidate that will appeal to the most voters rather than who is the candidate that will drive our ideological battle or our mission.
And Haley Stevens has that appeal? Is that what this person is saying? Haley Stevens has that appeal?
Or a project further.
Oh my God. Let's check with Caitlin Lagaki's other boss real quick here.
Oh. Yeah. And, you know, well, if you, do you want to hear my answer? Okay. So, I think the primary cause of death to Palestinians. Okay. Do you want to hear the answer, or do you want to yell? Well, you don't want to hear an answer? Obviously. So the primary source of death in Palestine is the fact that Hamas has realized that there are millions and millions of useful idiots that will. Can we get security up there?
LMAO, that Haley Stevens campaign people are third way stooges, so checks out. Also, Obama didn't actually endorse Haley Stevens. Her deceptive commercial implied that he did. You do realize that the most appealing candidates are progressive. That the center is actually not where the majority of the American political views are. And it hasn't been that way for a decade. Centrists have lost the room, and it's largely due to folks like this third way person cosplaying as that rational moderates. This is the thing. Like,
there is not a single example.
The idea that Democrats are always trying to, like, oh, we have to pivot to the center. We have to pivot to the center. How did that work for Kamala Harris? She focused and went on the campaign trail with Liz Cheney constantly and lost the election so bad because Democrats were like, no, why are we going to vote for you? It's just... So, to really put it in perspective, Haley Stevens is listening to far-right consultants. Far-right consultants. And also putting out fabricated posts claiming that her opponent is endorsed by the Republican. Like, ew, get rid of this crap. And then she's a character on top of that. So let's look at the character that she is, okay? I already showed that video earlier on. If we send your kids to die for Israel, we'll have less unemployment. Of course, that's a meme, but you know, it's just kind of what it is. Also, this person did an interesting breakdown. LOL, she left Michigan right after graduating Seaholm High School, one of the top high schools in Michigan that serves the affluent. Then only moved back to run for Congress. Spare me the hyperbole. All right, interesting. Graduated from high school in Michigan, moved to DC. Let's see, I guess she worked in DC all that time, director to a manufacturing innovation economic growth program in Kentucky. Was living in Chicago, returned to Michigan and announced candidacy for U.S. in Michigan's 11th congressional district. Okay, so she grew up there. So she graduated there. I don't know if she grew up there, but she graduated there and then moved back. So, interesting. This is an AI video, by the way.
You'll be living in a van down by the river.
We don't need AI videos in order to then show, like, what crazy things she says. This is the kind of crazy things that she says.
Okay, some of you have seen, there's those cool kids on the internet. They're doing the cool kid chatter.
Am I one of those cool kids? Asking for a friend.
Some of them might be the coastal elites.
I would love to be a coastal elite. That would be nice if I could have, if I could make if I could make way more than I am, I'm just above the poverty line. Like,
Making fun of how I talk.
also, it's funny that she's like, "Oh, the coastal elites, honey, you've taken $30 million from AIPAC. I do not need you to tell us like, oh, you're the coastal elite for criticizing me. Like, girl, shut up."
Not okay. Says my governor.
Says my governor.
But let's be real. They're making fun of Michigan.
Her facial expressions kill me.
They're thinking they're better than us.
No, we are just advocating for policies that actually help people of Michigan, as well as trying to push you into not doing crap where you make it look like your opponent is endorsed by the Republican, which is absolutely fake and fabricated. And also, we criticize you for taking and listening to advice from far right-wing also consultants. Like, your lackluster and lack of progressive ideals, that's what we criticize you for. Don't be mishearing it, honey.
And what they don't know is I am your voice.
No, you're not, honey. You are not.
And their jokes and their criticism only makes me fight harder.
Fight harder for what? Fight harder for what? For Palestinian human rights? Fight harder for us to end the war with Iran? Fight harder to actually uplift working class people in Michigan? Genuinely asking. Fight harder for what? Let me show you another video from Haley Stevens.
Intelligence judiciary are going to be taking up those matters through hearings and different investigations, and those committees are going to do their work, and I am laser focused on my committees of jurisdiction. I worked really hard to get on those committees for Michigan and for my constituents. You know who I sound like? I sound like the people who I talk to in Michigan who are getting screwed right now by Donald Trump, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm at the fish fry in Detroit. It's a joyous day. And the gals, 2 minutes into the conversation, what are we going to do about our utility bill? And so I sound like the people who I'm trying to fight for. And I can't campaign right now because I'm in a government building, but I am fighting for Michigan. Intelligence.
Let me show you another video here. You mean fight harder for Israel? Nearly $30 million. Abdul El Said? Zero.
Explain what you've given away for AIPAC support in this race.
30 seconds to wrap up.
No one owns my vote, and no one owns my policies. Israel comes to me in my dreams. I see Israel's future. My primary election night, I wanted to thank AIPAC. And in the United States Congress, I will continue to fight for the people of Israel. No one.
Continue to fight for the people of Israel. Not your elected constituents, but for the people of Israel? The country that is doing a genocide against Palestinians? The country that roped us into an Iran war? It's not a criticism. It's not me fear-mongering based on people's ethnicity. Jewish people know that. No, this is criticizing the country of Israel, their leadership for getting us involved in endless wars overseas. The fact that she immediately was like, I'd like to thank AIPAC. Oh, honey, your vote is bought by that group.
Owns my vote. I will continue to fight for the people of Israel, of Israel, of Israel, of Israel.
How did we get to a place where someone can run for the United States Congress in Michigan and openly promise to fight for the people of Israel? Not Jewish Americans, not Americans, the citizens of a completely different country. This isn't left versus right. It's Americans for Americans. It shouldn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. We should all expect the people we elect to fight for us. Power leaves paper trails. Follow.
And like, that is just, she's just a character. Like, she's just a character.
staff to President Obama's auto rescue. We saved over 200,000 jobs and strengthened Michigan. Michigan built the auto industry. I'm Haley Stevens, and I was chief of staff to President Obama's. Yes, oh my God.
Oh, this video. This is wild. Wow. Okay. This is crazy. Wait, come back.
Yes, oh my gosh, please. And I really think that those kinds of candidates are making a difference in people's lives. I'm wondering what you're accepting there. Well, thank you so much for coming and bringing your kiddo. It's so nice to meet with you. It's nice to meet you too. I'm just wondering, I want to make
I like how she's like trying to back away.
life and this country safe place for him to grow up in. I'm wondering why you would want to accept their endorsement and $800,000 in ads this year. Yeah. Guys, I have received, how many endorsements have I received this election? I think I've got a lot of local labor. Yes, oh my gosh, please.
I'm disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted. So your immediate pivot is to be like, oh, how many endorsements have I received? How many endorsements? Girl, you are avoiding the question. This is a Jewish American being like, hey, I'm feeling less safe because of what you're doing. And then you're like, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Like, girl. Haley Stevens, you need to stop. You need to stop. She needs to lose badly. Ugh. If she goes up against a Republican, I guarantee that she's going to lose. I don't like Mike Rogers. Don't vote for him. But she's going to lose. I'm telling you now. She's giving the same kind of lackluster, very hollow campaign style that Kamala Harris did. How did that turn out for Michigan? I genuinely want to defeat Republicans and have progressive ideals. The way to do that, Abdul El Sayed, sorry.
And I really think that those kinds of candidates are making a difference in people's lives. I'm wondering what you're accepting there. Well, thank you so much for coming and bringing your kiddo. It's so nice to meet with you. It's nice to meet you too. I'm just wondering, I want to make life as
It's so nice to meet you while you are actively avoiding the question. This is why people hate politicians. You have to get to the heart of what they're talking about here.
I'm gonna be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and I'm going to be telling.
Sorry, I'm not pausing it. That's just the video. Haley Stevens isn't just corrupt. She's also an a-hole. Yeah.
It's your first Ford. And you're walking with a Congresswoman. Yes, oh my gosh, please. Well, thank you so much for your...
Sorry, let me rewind that.
It's your first Ford. And you're walking with a Congresswoman.
Ew, it's not about you, honey. You're like, oh, it's your first Ford and you're walking with a Congresswoman. Like, it's not about you. She's so insufferable. She's insufferable.
Yes, oh my gosh, please. Well, thank you so much for your community service. I was wondering, with all the support of Republicans and people who are anti-choice and people who are working to disrupt our election systems that AIPAC is doing right now, I'm wondering why you're accepting their support. I'm a Jew and my family lives here in this community, and I really think that those kinds of candidates are making the Jewish people less safe. I'm wondering why you're accepting there. Well, thank you so much for coming and bringing your kiddo. It's so nice to meet with you. It's nice to meet you too.
So they ask a question and you say, thank you so much for coming. You know, it's so nice to meet with you, as like she backs away. Honey, don't be a coward. If you're going to be corrupt and bought by AIPAC, say it to her effing face. Say it to this woman's face, honey. Like, geez, Louise. This is why people hate politicians. This is why people are so tired of folks like Haley Stevens. I just like, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. If we put up this person against Mike Rogers, the Republican, she will lose.
I'm just wondering, I
and I'm wondering why you would want to accept their
Yeah.
endorsement and
I think-
$100,000 in ads this year.
Yeah.
Guys, I have how many endorsements have I received this election?
I think I've got a lot of local.
It's not about you. You're like, how many endorsements have I received? She's asking you why you're accepting this one endorsement. It's not about all the other endorsements that you've received. God, I want to run against Haley Stevens.
Yeah, you are a great representative, and we really appreciate your support. I'm just hoping.
She walks away. Coward. Absolute coward.
You guys. Oh my gosh, guys.
Oh, so she just immediately just walks over and starts talking with other people. Hi, nice to see you guys. This is how she treats people? This should end her campaign. I 100% agree. This is so disgusting. I can't verify that video. I'm speechless. This is great, especially from a Jewish woman, because there are a lot of anti-Zionist Jews, and we're really effing sick of the liberal scumbag politicians telling us that not supporting brutal apartheid and a genocide makes us anti-Semites. And that's a whole nother thing. It's actually really anti-Semitic of these like moderate liberal Democrats that take money from AIPAC to actually use anti-Semitism as like an excuse or a shield to then help out and support the apartheid, the settler colonialism, and the genocide that Israel, the government of Israel, is doing to Palestinians. It actually, the fact that they try to use that as like, oh, you're being anti-Semitic, that's no, there's a difference between the Jewish ethnicity and people that have that versus criticizing a government. That's like trying to accuse me of, if I were to criticize the government of China, of being somehow, promoting anti-Asian rhetoric. No, that's not how that works. Why do we fall for that when it comes to Israel? I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
And you're walking with the Congresswoman. Yes, oh my gosh.
It's not about you, honey. God, it makes me sick. It actually she makes me sick.
Hiding anything from voters. I'm not breaking FEC laws. I'm not hiding anything from voters. I'm not breaking FEC laws. By any stretch of the means, in fact, I'm compliant with the FEC laws and, what's gone on here. So maybe that's something on the... And also, Chad, you know that individual... No, I'm not. Okay. You're asking me, why would you ask me that question, first of all?
Well, I'm asking because if they're your opponents or me, are going to hang it as one of their big issues they're going to try to use against you here in the next 3 months.
Paid communications or just when they're out there talking?
Yeah, both, yeah.
And why do you think they're doing that?
Trying to tap into some anti-Israel sentiments in the Democratic.
You think it's foreign policy? Yeah, I think we should talk about foreign policy. Not hiding anything from voters. I'm not.
What? Hold on.
Breaking FEC laws. By any stretch of the means, in fact, I'm compliant with the FEC laws and, what's gone on here. So maybe that's...
You're compliant with FEC laws. Well, guess what? The FEC laws need to change. Campaign finance reform is incredibly important and necessary. You bragging that you are not breaking the laws, except actually, you did. You did, honey. Because you put out a fake press release that Abdul El-Sayed was endorsed by your Republican opponent, your prospect Republican opponent. And you're also listening to the same consultants, the same far-right consultants that advise for Third Way and Palantir, and you take almost $30 million from AIPAC? Honey, no ma'am. This kind of crud is so disgusting.
Something on the and also, Chad, you know that individual No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, you're asking me. Why would you ask me that question? First of all,
the politician is now asking, and the person running for office is now asking why the news is asking her a valid question about how her campaign is functioning as a reporter whose job it is to ask candidates about their campaign and its effect on the constituents. She's unbelievable.
Because your opponents are going to hang it as one of the big issues you're going to try to use against you here in the next 3 months.
In paid communications, or just when they're out there talking.
Anyway, I'm done talking about Haley Stevens. I'm done talking about her. This actually gets me. This right here.
It's your first Ford, and you're walking with a Congresswoman. Yes, oh my gosh, please.
It's your first Ford, and you're walking with a Congresswoman. Honey, it's not about you, and you made it about you. That should tell you everything you need to know, Michigan. Jeez Louise, she disgusts me. She disgusts me. She disgusts me. Let's move on to the next story here. All right. How are we doing in the chat here, y'all? I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are awesome. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything, but I did just shotgun a beer. Oh my God, no. That's funny. Yeah. No, I'm just basically making my own tabloids and fake news. Yeah, right? It's like they think we're on a game of Big Brother. Yeah. She's like a drunk Aunt Haley at the block party. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah. Your mic just dipped out? Oh, uh-oh. Well, that's annoying. But are we good still? Are we good still? Let's see. All right. Let's talk a little bit about data centers. What was her last job? TMZ? I don't know. I don't know where her last job is. Let's talk a little bit about data centers. This will probably be my last story today, so please make sure to send some likes. I might do some one-offs, though. So a lot of people have been recently galvanized around the rise of data centers. Sorry, let me adjust my camera here. Around the rise of data centers. And these AI data centers take a lot of energy. And right now, our grid is suffering in many parts of the country because of the rise of these data centers. And Donald Trump has been pushing them along. Trump's push to build data centers for the U.S. military. Explained. All right. Please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. If you live near a military base, there's a chance that you'll soon find that a privately owned data center has moved to your area. A year ago, Donald Trump issued an executive order directing the Department of Defense to lease land to private developers for this purpose. You can't fight it, Trump said this week of data centers, which have grown wildly unpopular. Amid concerns about massive electricity use and pollution, data center build-out on military bases is happening at hyperspeed. In March of this year, 2 private developers, the Carlyle Group and CyrusOne, were selected to develop hyperscale data centers built for cloud computing and AI on federally owned land in Texas and in Utah. The department hasn't explained where they'll get the power from, though. And as El Paso Matters reported recently, the proposed data center alone could require more than all the power of El Paso itself. So these data centers suck up a lot of energy. And building more and more power plants, building more and more on the grid, if not done in a clean way, will lead to more and more pollution, air and water pollution, that affects negative human health and drives the climate crisis even further. Let's see. And in May, the Department of Defense asked for an additional $30 billion to build hyperscale data centers that would, according to Defense One, quote, integrate largely untested hardware and software used to make life or death decisions into the military. Military spokespeople are framing this as critical to national security. Quote, nearly a century ago, President Roosevelt urged Americans to build the military infrastructure needed to preserve our democratic ideals during a time of profound global crisis. Assistant Secretary of the Army Mac Anderson wrote in Fortune in June, saying, quote, as we celebrate our country's 250th anniversary, we once find ourselves at a pivotal moment. The battlefield now begins long before the first shot is fired. It begins in the mines, factories, power plants, laboratories, and data centers and logistical networks. As I've previously reported, the federal government is using national security to justify allocating billions of dollars to tech companies, including Elon Musk's AI. In one legal filing on behalf of X's AI's right to avoid permitting processes, Cameron Stanley, the Department of War's chief digital and artificial intelligence officer, wrote that, quote, Grok's continued operation and availability is a matter of paramount national security. The Department of War used Grok to deploy over 2,000 munitions to 2,000 distinct targets within 96 hours during Operation Epic Fury. He added, the Pentagon has paid Musk's company at least $200 million for use of its technology. That's wonderful. That's just wonderful. Sorry, just need to take a breath here. Placing data centers on federal land may be a workaround for rising backlash on the potential environmental harm caused by these facilities. Throughout the 20th century, under the legal doctrine of sovereign immunity, the federal government has historically exempted military bases from much pollution regulation by citing the primacy of national security. Bases such as Camp Lejeune in North Carolina have leaked volatile organic compounds, jet fuel, and heavy materials into nearby groundwater, rendering what Aubrey Connor of the NAACP calls sacrifice zones. As a North Carolinian, I can verify that is very, very true. Very true. Members of Congress across the political spectrum are raising questions about the military's move into the public-private data center partnerships. But Republican appropriations rejected several data center-related amendments to a current defense spending bill, including one from Rashida Tlaib, that would have fully prohibited the construction of AI centers on federal lands, including military installations. Tlaib later introduced that amendment as a standalone bill. The only regulatory provision that actually made it into the House Armed Services Committee's version of the fiscal year 2027 Defense Authorization Bill was put forth by Corey Mills, a Republican of Florida. It would prohibit data centers built on military installations from using Chinese-built components. That's good, but we should also be limiting these AI, things itself. The Army said in a statement that Mills's measure would create unworkable standard, which would drive working-class commercial partners and over $1.3 billion in private capital away from Army land. Individual bills like Tlaib's owner, however, may still move forward. Public lands should not be turned into sacrifice zones for the AI arms race, said Shania Lewis, deputy director of Win Without War, in a press release. That's very, very true. Quote, this bill is a wake-up call and a necessary safeguard that will protect communities from being forced to shoulder the energy, water pollution, and infrastructure costs of systems designed to accelerate war-making and deepen the Pentagon's deference to big tech. It's also worth pointing out here that Trump's EPA wants fewer people asking questions about data center pollution. As the rise of data centers becomes more and more prevalent, it's worth asking what are the benefits and cons to these data centers. AI itself has been heavily criticized, rightfully so, for its negative impacts on our society. Gen Z does not have a favorable view of AI despite being the most likely to use it. They view it as a necessary evil, myself included. And it's important to point out here that AI itself is going to lead to even more environmental pollution because of how much energy it takes to generate AI content. So, the Trump administration is quietly considering a rule change that can make it easier for polluters to build facilities, including certain gas plants and diesel generators that power data centers with little to no notice for the public. On Wednesday, the Environmental Protection Agency held a public hearing on a proposed rule change that would hand the power to states to decide how the public participates in the permitting process for several new sources of air pollution. The proposed rollback comes as data centers face greater pushback across the U.S., with many communities using the permitting process to try to slow down development. Any changes could have major consequences for how ordinary people are given notice about new and expanded polluting facilities coming to their neighborhoods. It's also worth noting that these AI data centers, because they require so much energy, new power plants need to be built. Power plants are often built in the lowest income areas, often viewed as a sacrifice zone. I actually, at one point, was a nerd. I'm still a nerd, but at one point, I even mapped out where all the power plants are in North Carolina. Because I live in North Carolina, Duke Energy is the one that that owns all the different power plants and stuff like that. I mapped it out. All of them are in low income areas. Many are also in areas of particularly a lot of non-white residents. And this is where they come up with environmental racism as the term, because these big power plants, these big factories and stuff like that are often located in areas that don't have money, which tend to be disproportionately less and less white folks. Now it does affect, rural white folks as well. But that's where environmental racism comes into it, because these are disproportionately places that are not white. So it's like, yeah, you're putting it in low income areas as well. And like, of course, no one wants a power plant in their backyard, but it also goes to the testament of we should be building cleaner technology so that the disdain for pollution facilities goes down. I wouldn't mind living near a solar farm or a wind turbine farm. Yeah, it would be a little bit of noise, but I would rather have a little bit of noise than air I can't even breathe. And I think a lot of people would also prefer that. The wind turbines do make noise, and yes, they do have some negative effects. Clean energy isn't perfect, but when you look at the greater holistic picture, it is a huge improvement. And the fact that the EPA is trying to shut down these data centers, or not words, the fact that the EPA is trying to quell the dissent on these data centers is just disgusting to me. Companies building any kind of facilities that release air pollution are required to get permits under the Clean Air Act. Polluting sources can either be put through major permitting processes, meaning that they meet or exceed thresholds for certain pollutants, or minor one for those that don't. Major sources of pollution are reviewed by both federal and state regulators and have extensive requirements before and after construction. However, there's less oversight of minor sources. The scope of what gets permitted as minor source is extremely broad and can include everything from dry cleaners and auto body shops to diesel and gas engines. The later two are increasingly being used to power data centers, with operations such as xAI and Meta using minor source permitting processes to build behind the meter gas plants. And gas plants are also not clean. Like natural gas plants, while it burns a little bit cleaner, natural gas, you have to frack and you have to break open shale, and that leaks into groundwater, and you have methane emissions, which are even in many cases worse. It's a whole thing. I studied sustainable development, so I'll tell you that firsthand. It gets messy. And so all of that being said here, the thankfully bipartisan, a lot of these data centers are being proposed in Republican areas, in like deep red areas that are also rural and low income. And I personally don't like, and I think it's very important for us to question whether we need to even be building these AI data centers. For what purpose and for whose gain? Because AI looks like it's going to displace a lot of people from work. And also, AI is incredibly privatized. So it's private companies building and increasing their profits, but for whose gain? You put a big data center that sucks all the energy out of your grid. There have even been, and I have to verify this, there have even been letters being sent out from utilities saying, hey, you have to monitor your meter because there's a data center that's been put in your area. I'm just waiting for more and more things like that where the utility sends out a letter to their ratepayers saying, hey, you know, the grid is being strained because we have a new AI data center in your area. Like, I heard of one story. I have to verify that has happened. But it's just, I have a lot of questions about these data centers. So I plan on doing a bigger deep dive into them at some point. I really, really do. And also, it's just like, is AI even that worth it if we pollute the whole planet because it requires so much electricity and energy? Now, AI, if we were to use green energy to power AI, it would be a lot of green energy, but I would be less hesitant to be against AI for the reasons of environmental degradation if it was for cleaner energy. Now, clean energy isn't perfect. It's not 100% clean. But when you look at the overall scope, clean energy is way less polluting, so much cleaner comparatively. So anyway, it is 10:22. I've been live for 2.5 hours, so I am going to go ahead and be done for the day. I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are amazing. Shout out to all of my amazing moderators. I seriously appreciate every single one of you being in here. It means a lot. So I'll be editing down the stream into shorter videos that I'll post on my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to do so. I do not do ad reads. I do not take money from, companies that want me to push a product. I don't do any of that crap. I get emails by people saying, we would love for you to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not here to push the latest miracle cream that's going to make your skin glow. Like, no, I'm here trying to inform and educate and give people the facts of what's happening. So I appreciate every single one of you. You're awesome. Thank you. Have a blessed day. You too. Have a great day, Keisha. Tana, thank you. I appreciate all of you so much. And shout out to my amazing moderators in here. Akicha, Ellie, Elisa, Cantisa, C-Bar, you're awesome. Cantigan, y'all are incredible. And I love that you are unbiased. I mean, I am biased, but I also am very clear about what my bias is and that you can disagree with my bias. Of course, I hope you don't, but like, I really do my best to just give you the information. So it's, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. So I appreciate it. So, anyway, I'm going to go. I love you all so much. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything or any algorithm ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye.